Well, today we're going to talk all things money. I'm going to tell you how our large family lives debt-free, how I budget, and I'm going to give you a few tips on how to get out of and stay out of the money pit. G'day everyone, my name's Jenny. If you haven't been here before, welcome, thanks for dropping by. Now today we are going to be talking all things money. As a mum of 16 children, I have to tell you that raising children does not come cheap. So one of the most common questions we get asked is how on earth do we afford to have 16 children? So, the simple answer is that we work hard, we live simply, and we budget well. Now, everybody's budget is different, and that's because everyone's income is different, and everyone's family size is different, and everyone's situation is different. So the best idea when you're talking about money and finances and a budget is to take all the advice and all the tips that you can get your hands on, and then try them in your families, see what works for you, and when you find those things, stick with it. Now, there is a huge misconception that all large families or mega-sized families are living off the taxpayer, and that they're all sitting back and just raking in all these government benefits. And that is so far from the truth. Most families that I know with a lot of kids are like us. We're all out there and we're working hard. We're paying taxes like everybody else. We're contributing back to our communities as well. Now, our income is from hubby out there working hard. He works really long hours and he travels a lot, and he provides very well for us, and we're very, very grateful, and we appreciate him so much for all that he does for us. Our children work as well, so as soon as they turn 15, 16 and can get a part-time job, they're out there working as well as doing their schoolwork, and when they have finished their schooling, they will either go on to further study or they go into full-time jobs. Now, I have been very blessed to be able to stay at home all these years and raise our children, but I do YouTube, which makes a little bit of money. Not a lot, but it's, I'd like to think of it as our holiday fund. And I've done little bits of work over the years. My job, I think, when Ray brings home the money, my job is to make sure that I run the house well and that I budget well, and I make sure that the money goes around and pays all the bills and everything that we need. So we live a fairly simple, frugal lifestyle. It's always been that way. I think nowadays people see something new and they've got to have it straight away. Might be a new car or upgrading their phone. And we don't do that. We're happy to use something a little bit older or to make do with things. We've still got some kitchen chairs around our dining room table that we bought when we got married 33 years ago. So, we're happy to use what we have, and we're content with what we have. And I think that's part of having a good budget, is that you don't always just need more and more and more. Sometimes you have to be happy where you are. So we started off with a mortgage for our house. We figured as we were having our family and our children, we would probably struggle a little bit with our finances. And so we sort of dove straight in and went, right, we're going to buy a house, and we will make those payments on our mortgage while we're raising our family. So we made it a priority, and I think that's really important, is to make the bills a priority. You can't just put bills aside, and I'll get to those later. You will get into a lot of financial difficulties if you put off your bills. But one of the bills that is really important is to pay yourself as well. So having some savings is truly important for all families. Regardless of your size, you need to have some money put aside. So if you do fall on some hard times, or something unexpected happens, or you have an emergency, you can go to those funds. Now, I know a lot of people use credit cards nowadays for that kind of thing. It's your, for emergencies only. type of thing. But unless you are really dedicated and very disciplined with a credit card, it can get people into a lot of financial trouble. So if it works for your family, if it works for you because you know that you have the bill to pay at the end of the month and you actually pay it, then that's great. Continue doing what you're doing. But if you have a problem at the end of the month finding that money to pay that credit that you've used throughout the month, if you can't pay that off, then you need to change your ways and maybe get rid of the credit card and start thinking about how you can adjust your budget to make your money go around. Now, because everyone's income is different, it's important to remember to live within or below your means. If you live beyond what you're bringing in, you're going to end up in a lot of debt. If you live within your means, then everything will just kind of run as it is until something drastic happens. What if you don't have a washing machine or a refrigerator? You need to have something to fall back on. And living below your means means that you are going to be putting some money away, and you've got some money there if you need repairs, or if something medical comes up, or something of the emergency type. Like, you know, we're not talking about, gosh, there's a great sale on for some clothes here. We're talking about really important things for your family. Paying off our house was a huge priority for us. So hopefully when you got a mortgage for your house, you got one that has a redraw facility on it and the ability to make extra payments or to pay it out early. I know there's a few banks that don't allow that anymore, and I find that a little bit tricky because, you know, if you've got extra money, it's always good to put that onto your mortgage because you don't want to have that huge debt. And I mean, houses, the prices at the moment are just going through the roof. So people are going to have a lot of debt. You're going to want to put as much money into that mortgage as you possibly can. Now, if you have a redraw facility on that loan, that means that you can go into the bank and you can withdraw that. If you had a big emergency and you needed that money in a hurry, then you could get that back off the loan. And having the flexibility with a home loan where you can make extra payments and there's no great penalties for paying it out early will give you a lot of incentive to get that debt down as fast as you can. So I guess basically our debt has only ever been our mortgage, and we've had our mortgage paid out for a really long time. I couldn't even tell you how many years it's been now that we haven't had to worry about mortgage payments. But everything else that we have, it's like we are happy to wait and save for that. We don't have to have it straight away. So we paid cash for our bus. That was a great purchase for us as well. It's still going. It's got a few issues that we still have to get done on it, and you know, it's not the prettiest and the shiniest of buses out there, and oh gosh, you know, a new bus would be lovely. But we're happy and we are content where we are. And again, this is how you get your budget under control, is by not always wanting more. It's being happy with what you actually have. So we live on one wage, and I make that go around by being as careful as I can with the budget. We pay all our bills first, and then whatever's left over is for the groceries. And I think groceries and all of those little extras and stuff in life is where you can adjust your budget. That varies from week to week, and some weeks are tighter than the others, and some you have that little bit of excess money and you can afford to, you know, buy some of the bargains and the sales and put those aside. And that's how we save money long term on our groceries, is simply by watching the half price sales, being careful with what we buy. I look for markdown products. I'm happy to buy markdown products. I'm happy to buy secondhand things for the house. We get bags of clothing given to us from other people for the kids, and the kids don't mind. Education for children is really super important. Now, whether you're homeschooling and you're putting your own money into your curriculum and your supplies for at home, that's great. Some people go to public school. Our children have attended private school. So we put a lot of our money into their education, and that's very important. That's been worth every cent. We've loved the schools that our children have attended, but we've made sacrifices along the way to pay for that. So we don't go on fancy overseas trips, or we don't eat out a lot, and we don't wear fancy clothes or drive flashy cars. We put our money into our kids' education. So it's all about prioritizing where you're going to spend your money. Now, it used to be years ago when I was a child, if you wanted something, you would wait for a birthday or for Christmas, and you would get that special something as a gift. Nowadays, it's a very, oh, I want it now and I shall have it now kind of society. And I'm really hoping that I've taught my children that it's okay to sit and wait for things that you might want. If it's something that you need, then absolutely go out and buy it. If it's something that you want, sometimes that waiting for it and the saving up for it and then the finally going and buying it is half the fun of actually getting it in the long run. So I think people have to ask themselves, when they're going to spend money, is it something that you need or is it something that you want? And can you wait for it? And I think it's a great lesson in patience. Now, I know there's lots of apps out there where you can budget your money and sort it all out. I am a pen and paper girl. I like to write things down. I have a simple book that I have columns in. I have one for the dates. I have one for incoming and one for outgoing and what it is. And then I can just simply tick it off at the end. So write down the dates of when you're getting paid, and then what you're getting paid, write that in the incoming. Whatever income you are bringing in, write that in that list. Then in the next column, write down what you have to spend. So write down the amount and then write down what it's for. So is it your car insurance? Is it health insurance? Is it school fees? Is it grocery money? Is it the gas bill? Whatever it is, write it down. You can just tick it off, use a highlighter if you like. Very simple. There's no fancy things that you have to do on a computer or anything else. You can literally just put it into an exercise book, write those columns down, and you can keep a check on it. And then you will know when your money's coming in, what you need to spend it on, so you don't overspend. And you have to remember that the bills aren't going to go away. So if you bring home money one week and you don't have any bills due that week, that's not to say that the bills aren't coming the week after. So you have to be prepared for that. And sometimes you're going to have to put that money aside and not spend it. It might be there, it might be burning a hole in your pocket, and you might want to race out and spend it because you think, oh, I've got $200 spare this week, but you might have a bill next week that needs to be paid. So always make sure you know exactly what money is disposable, that you can go and splurge on a meal out or a new dress or whatever you need to get, and then the money that is needed for your bills. And next time before you spend money, think about, are you happy to reuse something, recycle something, restore something, repair it? We have furniture in our house that came with the house when we bought it. So we've been in our house now for 32 years, I think. And there's furniture here that would have been here for 30 years prior to that. And we are happy to sand it back and paint it and restore it and give it some new life. Don't throw everything out. Don't keep spending all your money. Use the stuff that you've already got and you will save so much. If your budget is so tight that it can't be moved, you won't stick to it, because something's going to come up. Whether it's something important that you have to spend money on, or whether it's just an opportunity to go out and have some fun, you won't have cash for that. So try and leave just a little tiny bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you need to have a little bit of flexibility. It's important to have savings. It's important to pay your household bills. It's important to pay for your children's education. But it's also important to make memories with your family. So taking the kids on a small holiday, or doing something fun, or having birthday gifts for the kids is just as important as paying the electricity bill. So when you are looking at what you are bringing in, again, we have to balance it between life and necessities and making sure that our family's needs are met and hopefully there is enough left over that you can have some of those wants. Now, if you have any more questions about budgets or money for me, make sure you pop those in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. We would love to have you join us in our everyday life with our big family. Now, remember to work hard and to live simply and to be happy and content with what you've got. And stay focused on those finances so you don't end up in a money pit. Okay, well, thanks for having a chat today. Thanks for watching. See you next time. God bless.